The festive menu of is one of the highlights of the culinary year. But turkey or chicken with all the trimmings, plus platters of plum pudding and lushings, everything you want to eat. But be careful what you eat, because you'll be piling up what could eventually give you hypertension. But it affects millions of people across the world, and the number continues to go up. The condition can increase the chances of developing cardiovascular conditions such as heart diseases and strokes, and many things can contribute to hypertension. But the diet, what you eat, is one of the key factors. So how do you make a Christmas dinner healthy? Oh, it's getting to Christmas and we're going to eat all kinds of things. You need to make it healthy, even though you want it to be tasty as well. We'll find out how to make Christmas good for your blood pressure as well. Joining me in the studio to further explore this is Andrew Osei-Bimpong. Andrew Osei-Bimpong is a scientist who's got the passion to promote the well-being of Ghanaians. Mr. Osei-Bimpong, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so really, can you eat your cake and have it in this situation? How can you make the Christmas spicy and enjoyable as far as your tongue is concerned, and still check, that it's not giving you, piling up any blood pressure?
That's right. So unfortunately, the tongue and the body are two different things. They're sort of going two different directions.
Okay.
And the idea is that we need to be aware of what raises cholesterol, which in turn would eventually raise blood pressure.
Okay.
We need to be aware that meat that is not lean would certainly increase your cholesterol, increase plaque in your blood vessels, and therefore increase your blood pressure.
Okay.
So we need to be aware of that.
So being aware of that, I beg your pardon, give us a practical picture. What are some of the things that you'd encourage people to include on their menu to add to their food as we go into the Yuletide?
So we need to take vegetables into consideration.
Okay.
So that will fill up for some of the proportion of carbs and meat. So instead of those two, you would probably increase your vegetables in order to reduce the effects of increased cholesterol, because vegetables have a way of reversing the effects of cholesterol.
Okay.
So if you have a portion of that, that can sort of neutralize some of the bad effects of the meat.
But if I want to find out, say, for you to draw up a menu for me for Christmas, a menu that is high blood pressure sensitive, what would that be?
So what would that be? I would not say get rid of your meat entirely, because the festive season is festive season. I would say have three things in mind.
Okay.
So have your sugars, that is your carbs, so that you'll be able to be happy, because of sugar makes you happy.
Oh, it does make you happy.
Right.
I know that for sure.
Have some meat in there by all means, but also have some vegetables, have some salads, have some water in there, and try and make water interesting. Water is interesting. I always say, think of spring water, sparkling water, for instance.
Okay, that's not very interesting, because it has a very funny taste.
It does.
I mean, how do you make water interesting?
It has an acquired taste. That's what I say. So the more you drink it, you sort of get used to it rather than flat water.
Okay.
But more importantly, have some vegetables and salads in your proportion, and also try and think of lean meat like chicken. Chicken is not too bad in comparison to your pork and your beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over this again. You said that three things that you should be careful of is the sugars, the meat, and vegetable water.
That
seems to have come together.
So vegetable water is good. Meats, sort of go easy on that. But if you're going to go crazy on meat, make sure you go crazy on vegetables as well, and salads.
Okay, but first of all, you mentioned how you can make water interesting.
Yeah.
You're talking about sparkling water. First of all, it's not easy to come by.
No,
I mean, if I walk to the street across the street, the shop across the street, I don't think I'll get sparkling water.
That's
so
correct,
in the absence of sparkling water, what can I do to my water to make it a bit interesting?
Add a little bit of lemon in there.
Okay.
Or lime.
Okay.
That sort of makes it a bit tangy, and that's interesting as well.
Okay. Okay.
And
so,
try and chill it. So.
Oh, is that good?
Yeah,
because
it's okay.
I've heard all kinds of ideas and all kinds of myths about drinking cold water.
That's right.
I love to chew on ice.
Yes.
And I've been told several times how unhealthy or how bad it is. I haven't seen anything wrong with it personally, though.
So the jury is still out on that, and that's one of my passions to do. We really keep very close views on latest research opinions in effects of when we have rumor, we have mysteries, or we have myths. We try and investigate that. And so far, we've not found any evidence, concrete evidence on the ill effects of cold water. Because the thing is that your body temperature is quite high. It's at 37 degrees. When you take chilled water in there, that would actually increase the temperature, would neutralize the temperature. So we're not quite sure that cold water has that negative effects. However, too much of everything is bad. So we are not saying it's totally wrong, but we've not found concrete evidence.
Okay, so you can make your water interesting by making it, drinking it cold. Too much of everything is bad, but cold is not bad. There's no evidence, he says, no scientific evidence to prove that there's anything wrong with it. But you can spice it up with a bit of lemon and a little bit of lime if you like. But if you can get sparkling water, all the best, all the better, he says. Vegetables. I mean, I understand. I heard that it's not all kinds of vegetables that are good for all kinds of blood groups.
Right.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, again, that's another interesting factor. Natural science does not want to foul herbal science, and the herbalists are really going on about that. I mean, I happen to be a specialist in blood diseases as well, blood groups, and unfortunately, I personally have not seen that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So does it mean that anybody can take any kind of vegetable?
Well, we've seen whole sort of different blood groups and no effect.
No effect at all. So any type of vegetable at all, depending on the taste.
Especially when we talk of plant-based vegetables, like green vegetables, those are good because they reduce your bad cholesterol. We have two types of cholesterol, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and the green vegetables are very good at increasing your good cholesterol and reducing your bad cholesterol.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's green vegetables.
Green vegetables, yeah.
And is there any way you can make it a little interesting as well?
Peppers.
Oh.
Yes, green peppers.
That is so true.
Yes, so that would be a good one to sort of do as well, and it clears the sinuses as well. It clears the mucus. It promotes that mucus, which actually is good for the body as well.
Okay, that's pepper.
That's right. That's peppers, yeah.
Okay, so vegetables. I've spoken about water. I'll go through it when I'm done with this conversation, which we're doing momentarily. But what can you do with meat?
You can, well, I've mentioned chicken, which is good.
Chicken is good.
Chicken is
you
very
can eat
good.
Chicken any day.
Yes.
Okay, I'm on the right path.
Go easy on the red meats.
Okay.
But when you've got growing children, yes, by all means, give them red meat. You know, it's good for their protein content as well. Also, let's not forget cocoa. You know, unsweetened cocoa for your beverage. That's also good when you're going to sleep.
And when you say unsweetened cocoa, does it mean that you can't put in some sugar?
No, ideally not. We sweet enough. Ghanaians are sweet enough.
Really?
So I would say, again, that's an acquired taste. So once you stop taking sugar, you'll be used to it. Be amazed. And when we talk of sugars, we're not talking of things that are necessarily sweet. There are a lot of hidden sugars. So when we talk of bread, that has a lot of hidden sugars in there.
Right.
Anything that is white, any food that's white has a high amount of hidden sugar in there.
Interesting. Okay, so as far as sugars are concerned, you want to acquire the taste. So you want to go low on sugar, and when you do it over a while, you get used to it. So your taste buds, they just pick it up. So unsweetened cocoa without. What about milk? Unsweetened cocoa with milk and milk powder maybe.
Sure.
That works.
That's fine. Again, the festive season, it doesn't come around every day. So one day of that is not a problem.
Okay. But how can you make a cake without sugar? That's an abomination.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's why we must have cake. Maybe once in a blue moon, once in a Christmas, Easter.
Okay.
Not too much of that.
Not too much of that. Okay. So the things that he's just gone over with us, and I think that along the line, when we get into Christmas proper, we should bring you back so we have this conversation
That's
a bit more. We break it down.
I don't think I'll be the enemy of the states.
No, you won't be. You won't be. You're just helping people to eat properly. So I think we'll have to bring you back so we talk about, we take each of the kinds of food that we have around here perhaps, and we do a bit of analysis and, advice advise people how to go about it. So 3 key things that you should take away from this interview is that you want to be mindful of the sugars, you want to be mindful of meat, you want to be mindful of water, you want to be mindful of vegetables. As far as sugars are concerned, he's saying that, well, you have to change your taste, the taste buds. You have to get used to it, you know, acquire the taste. In terms of meat, he says red meat is good usually for kids, but if you're, you know, like me, you want to cut it out. Do a lot of chicken because that's good. Chicken digests pretty quickly. And vegetables do a lot, especially green vegetables. And if you want to make it interesting, do what I do. Always put in some pepper, a lot of it. I like to put a lot of pepper in the food as well. And if you want to make water interesting, because it's good for you to drink a lot of water, if you want to make it interesting, he says, why don't you spice it up with a little bit of lime or lemon, and you can also do sparkling water. Your final words before we go, and like I'm saying, we'll have to bring you back. That's right. We'll talk a bit more about food.
So the final words, like I said, nobody knows your body more than yourself. So you keep an eye, and you would know what really is good for you, what makes you pile on the pounds, and go easy on that. Avoid that, because you've only got one body, so you need to look after yourself.
That's so true. That's so true. Thank you so much for coming. Andrew Osebimponde, he's a chartered scientist, and we're having a conversation about how to keep your blood pressure down or stabilize it, correct? Even as we go into Christmas, because what you eat has some effect on your blood pressure. Thank you so much for coming. We'll definitely bring you back. It's been an interesting conversation, as short as it has been.